happened when you went up? Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, that's right. See, so that-
Motion,
Yeah,
second.
exactly.
Hello, Elizabeth.
The less
How are you?
important and significant it is.
You have no
Or
support
something
tonight.
that-
No less.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Oh, boy. Well,
Peter?
fortunately, it's a relative benign thing tonight.
Elizabeth can do this, without doubt. Of course, she's the only one up there on that. The only project is Elizabeth's. Perfect.
15.
Too bad they don't allow heating with seats. We could all do it from home.
Well, they did for a while.
With COVID, maybe.
These,
Yeah, they
these,
did.
we did, yeah.
No.
It is 6:30, and I am calling to order the Plainfield Township Planning Commission. Everybody make sure you've got your microphones on. Green light, okay. First on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Any additions, subtractions? Elizabeth, for you?
None from me.
Okay, anything up here? Nope, I'll take a motion then.
So moved.
Wow, stereo. I heard Jack in my good ear.
Second.
Thank you, Janelle. I have a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, thank you. We're set. Next is the consent agenda, which includes approval of the minutes of November 26th of last hearing, approval of the 2025 Planning Commission meeting dates, and accept and forward the 2023 Planning Commission annual report to Township Board. Should that be 24?
Yes.
Okay.
My apologies.
No problems. No problems. With the annual report, anything to add to that, Elizabeth?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. I'll take a motion at this time.
Can I actually ask just one question on the, the annual report? The staff approved items that the people come and staff approve. Is there any way we could get information on that when those happen?
Yeah, definitely.
Just as a, going forward, it would be nice if you guys approved something, if we just somehow got notice of that at a meeting.
Yeah.
That what was approved. Because
Definitely.
looking over that list, some of that was sort of interesting.
Yeah.
That we didn't really know about.
And you
So,
can remind her under number 8, too.
yes, okay,
Planning Commission.
thank you.
Welcome.
Okay.
It's a great suggestion.
And then I will move to approve those items.
Robin said it first. I'll take a support.
I'll support it then.
Thank you very much. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, great. Thank you all. Public comments. Anybody, public, want to make a comment? We like comments. Not questions, but comments. Okay, I'll close that portion of the meeting. Thank you. Next is our agenda items with the site plan review. Bran, would you read that application, please?
Project name is Raven Flats Townhomes. Applicant is Mr. Dave Visser of Dave Visser Builder LLC. Project addresses, 31445 Mile Road, 4357 East Beltline Avenue, and 4341 East Beltline Avenue. Permanent parcel numbers, 41-10-34-226-051. Also 41-10-34-226-052, and 41-10-34-226-040. Site of size approximately 3.14 acres combined. Project description and action requested of the Planning Commission to grant site plan approval for a 24-unit townhome development, Raven Flats Townhomes.
Thank you. Is the applicant here? I am. Come on up to the podium. We'll make sure your microphone is on.
Thank you for having us.
Want to tell us about your project?
Okay, yeah, I wasn't quite sure how far we got the last time. So basically, we're proposing a 24-unit, 4-unit townhome project. They're 2 levels, and they all have attached garages. And so we've worked for a long time at putting a plan together and a project together here that we thought was gonna be a great fit for the parcel and for the project. We don't have unattached garages. we're offering some amenities. We're gonna have a pavilion, some extra parking, you know, some area for dog run. So, and we're also gonna try to maintain and keep a lot of the trees as much as we can for the project. So we're gonna try to keep it as secluded as we can and use the benefits of the terrain that we got with the belt line and the hill that we have there. So we look forward to putting this together. We're gonna do some nice landscaping, and we're gonna have a retention pond up front there. And I'd be happy to entertain any other questions you might have. We do have some renderings that we have submitted. I don't know if you guys have seen those. So we've been working on some of that. So we appreciate that. Thanks.
Elizabeth, anything you want to add before we take over?
Sure, yeah, so this project should be fairly familiar to you folks. You reviewed it in November, the rezone for the PUD. The Township Board did approve that, and that became effective 2 days ago. So we're before you tonight for site plan. The plan was fairly complete in November. Now, during site plan, we just dig into the details a little bit more. Our engineer is requiring the extension of sanitary sewer to the edge of the parcel to provide for future connectivity. The applicant is aware of that and willing to make that extension. We did recommend a condition of approval that covers the existing tree canopy open space designated. We want that described in an easement, either in the master deed or as a standalone easement, so that would run with the property. In the case the project sells or something happens with the development, everyone knows that tree canopy should not be disturbed. That was kind of a selling point for this project. They weren't just going to kind of clear cut the lot. So we did want to make sure that got done. Those were the two big things. We did recommend a condition of approval that will review the landscaping during the building process. A lot of times not quite sure exactly what needs to be taken out, so it makes sense to do that review a little bit later. The fire department and engineering had a few other kind of standard conditions of approval, and that's all I have. Let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Well, Jack, let's start with you. Do you have any comments, questions, anything?
I just had one question, more of a curiosity thing than anything. First of all, I appreciate what you're doing here.
Thank you.
Townhomes, are they rental units or units to purchase?
So at this point, we're gonna do townhomes that are gonna be for rental. But I want you to know that we are actually building this and setting this up so that we could sell them as condos and have the option to do so. So we're gonna do nicer finishes, we're gonna do nicer exteriors. But right now, that's the fit and the need that I think is out there, and that's the direction we're going.
Okay, thanks. That's all I had.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry. Dennis, sorry.
Is there any kind of account for handicap accessible units within this development?
So we will probably have a couple units that we will, you know, as far as kitchens and doorways and some of that we will accommodate on that. We haven't got into the details of that yet, but we certainly will probably do something for that. And I've done that in past projects that we've done. So on a project this size, 1, maybe 2 units is about all you would need to accommodate in the numbers for that, but we would do something for that, correct?
Okay. And then my last question is that when I'm looking at some of the notes on there, the upper right-hand side, you have a retaining wall that is 11 feet, what was it, number 11? It's 9 feet tall. And yet you have a deck out the back, and it looks like the retaining wall wraps around. I'm not sure what I'm seeing as far as like what you're presenting in that corner.
Are you talking up by 5 Mile there on that corner?
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't got into we don't know the exact grades of how that's gonna work, but we may have to retain some of that around there to try to keep the current trees and as much of the natural turf as we can.
Okay,
So we would either do that by boulder wall or landscape type wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis. Robin?
Elizabeth, was there an abandoned house on this that needed to be demolished?
Yeah, so it's not abandoned, but there is an older home here
Oh, okay.
that they are selling to the developers. And then
On
there's,
property.
yep, exactly, yep. And there's an abandoned, like antenna. Do you know exactly what that structure is on the other parcel?
It looks like a miniature cell tower or some kind
Yeah.
of a windmill type structure thing.
That is not in use anymore, and that will be
yeah.
taken down as well. Yeah.
And then the second is, the 3 areas noted on the drawing is do not disturb existing tree canopy. Those are the areas that will be in that deed.
Yes, yep.
Thank you.
So maybe Elizabeth, or, I don't know, the property to the south then, is that, I think we had this discussion, so this is still accessible through some other means if that gets developed, or how are we, we're not cutting that off, are we, by doing it this way?
No, so they still have access directly off the Beltline right now.
But in the future, if somebody wanted to develop that, they're probably not going to have that access.
Correct, yep.
So is that still a usable lot?
They would have to come through this back future cross connection
Okay.
provided here,
Okay,
which does connect to the Northern Dells property.
okay, so
the
that still is
south.
a usable lot in the future if needed. If somebody
Yes.
wanted to develop that.
Yeah, yep. It actually thankfully provides a little better access because MDOT probably wouldn't allow that curb cut to turn into a commercial curb cut, so.
And I guess, is there any issues or questions with traffic onto 5 Mile? This, because that's the only way in and out.
Right. So traffic on the Beltline and 5 Mile isn't great. We all know that. But of all of the possible uses for this piece, this is the least intense use that could possibly go there. Between the number of units and the location of the curb cut being as, far east as, or far west as possible. It's the best of a not great corner there.
And if that property to the south is developed into something, the additional traffic is not going to be significant. I mean, I know nobody knows what that's going to be, but
Yeah, we will have to look at the future, whatever future use that is, and make sure that the intensity will not be a problem for the traffic there. I think ideally it would be just an extension of this development, maybe a few more units or something like that. So I don't anticipate it being, we wouldn't allow a super heavy traffic use to go in there anyway, so.
that's all the questions I have.
I know.
Yeah, I wondered if you had some sense of the estimate for the cost of the rent and how that compared to the rents around for this kind of development?
So we've done a little bit of study on that, based on the units. I think we're gonna fit into, higher rent than, let's say, the Northern Dells, which is next door. Probably lower than maybe some of the other ones that are newer down the street, but we're gonna fit into the that middle class market, I think, is where I would tell you we would be. We're gonna have a little more amenities and we've got a little more square footage in our units, so we're trying to bring in that little bit higher end type renter, and dollar for it.
And I think you would get that with the attached garages.
And that's part of our thinking as, along with doing it, and it just makes such a nicer project out of it.
What's the square feet of each unit approximately?
There are just over 1,500 square feet. Yep,
Size?
yeah,
Yeah, good.
yep.
All my questions have been asked and answered. Just a comment to support the project. It's adding to our residential housing inventory that we know we're short on, and it's a good mix into that neighborhood and how that fits into the neighborhood. So I'm going to be voting in favor of this project, and thank you for bringing it to us.
Thanks for your support.
Can I say something real quick on behalf of the developer?
Sure.
Sorry, I'm Ben Pitcher. I don't know, I think it was maybe not the planning commission, but it might have been the township meeting that I stuck at. Yeah, sorry. Ben Pitcher, I'm working with Dave Visser on this project. One thing that I thought of and I wanted to bring to light when Brian brought up the point about the parcel to the south, I do see here that we have marked do not disturb existing tree canopy. And one thing that may come into play, and I wanted to bring this up now, that is if that southern parcel ever became available, all of a sudden there's the tree canopy that I think is gonna be deed restricted. Is that correct, Elizabeth?
We will have to build in some wiggle room that the township could approve, modifications to that.
Okay.
And we obviously don't want to, we cannot deed restrict that's not on this property. So it would
Sure.
It would
And
just be that corner, yeah.
that makes sense. I only bring that up because if that whole section of trees gets deed restricted, now it definitely is an undevelopable parcel to the south. And so I just wanted to call that out before it becomes permanent and whatnot. So I don't know if it really matters, but
Thanks, Ben.
thank you.
Sure. Condition number 1, the applicant shall combine the parcels prior to issuance of a building permit. 2, the applicant shall draft conservation easements for the tree preservation areas to be recorded in the master deed or as a standalone document. And those are those the ones that we're gonna have to maybe manipulate a little bit based on that southern one? Is that,
I mean,
I don't think that's something that's,
yeah, I would say that we
well, when
will,
they draft those documents, that'll have to be addressed at that time.
yeah, we'll definitely have our attorney build in some flexibility. And yeah, I think, we have no idea what's going to happen with that parcel. So in the meantime, it would still be nice to have at least the portion on their property described in that easement, yeah.
Condition number 3, the applicant shall submit an updated landscaping plan prior to any building permits being issued. 4, the applicant shall obtain a stormwater permit, including an operation and maintenance agreement prior to the issuance of a building permit. And number 5, the applicant shall provide improvements as required by the fire department.
thank you. Any further discussion regarding these conditions? No? I'll take a motion at this time.
Well, I'll move that the planning commission grant site plan approval for Raven Flats Townhomes, a 24-unit townhome project with related infrastructure and amenities as provided on the site plan dated January 7th, 2024, subject to the conditions that were previously stated.
Support.
Any further discussion? No? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, you're all set.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is election of the thinking that's 2025.
Ah, sorry.
25
Stuck in my head.
officers and representatives.
We're going back in time.
I am more than willing to hand the gavel over if somebody really wants the job.
I would be interested.
Go for it.
I would be happy to be in the same position that I'm in currently,
What do you do?
just a member.
You're a commissioner. That's what don't confuse things. Okay. And vice chair?
I'm willing to continue to serve at your pleasure.
Okay. Secretary?
That's you.
I'll do secretary.
All right, thank you, Dennis.
Dennis just stepped up.
Representative to ZBA.
I would love to continue to do that.
Okay. I think there are alternates. We need to discuss that because when you need an alternate and you call me, I can't usually do it.
Yeah, I have brought that up, that we need a few more alternate options, so the governance committee will look into that.
Should we talk about it now or some other time?
Oh, it doesn't have to be from the planning commission.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, it
Okay.
can be from anyone, yep.
Okay, and representative to the Parks and Recreation Committee?
I'd be happy to continue doing that.
Okay, Dennis, okay. We have our slate. You want to vote on this by slate? No one's saying no.
Well, secretary, where were we?
Dennis?
I put my head out in the ring, but if you want to do it.
No, you can do it. I'd rather be on the commission for another year before I pick things up, so.
We have volunteers for everything.
And you got that all recorded? Okay.
Ew.
Don't second guess her.
I'm just making sure she wrote it all down. We were just sort of talking.
No,
I wanted
I-
to make sure she
We're
got it.
going
Made
to have a
pretty clear.
retirement party for me.
Huh.
Well, she's not going anywhere.
Right.
Yes, but she's retiring from.
Years. Years. Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, new slate. Staff comments. Elizabeth? Any-
Happy New Year. I haven't seen y'all in a long time, so nice to see you. Yeah, that's all.
Planning Commission comments?
Do you foresee an uptick in those metrics that you reported on in the annual report, that this year will be more active than it's been?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think commercial will see more commercial and commercial remodels, yeah. And hopefully with the brownfields stuff, we'll see more multifamily. So that's kind of what we're hoping for. We'll see.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I wondered about what you thought about the housing numbers in the report and where you would like to see it.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to see more infill housing projects. Kind of like this, a little bit of a different product type, that missing middle housing type. We've done a lot of traditionally single-family homes in the township, so it'll be interesting to see those numbers change. Yeah, thanks for asking.
What about the project on Coit? Is that still moving forward, or is that?
Yeah, that went to the brownfield, well, it's going to the brownfield for final work plan and developer agreement, hopefully in February. And yeah, after that, it's just up to the state to approve their permit, and then they're good to go.
Okay, is there a site plan or some kind of view of that online somewhere?
Yeah, there definitely should be on our website. Otherwise, I can send those to you if you'd like.
Okay.
Has the developer met their promise of meeting with the residents?
Did. I'm not sure that it did much good at this point, but they did. They sat with them for a couple of hours and they heard all of their concerns, and yeah, we haven't heard anything else from the neighbors, so maybe they've settled down about it. I'm not sure. Yeah. Sure.
And again, I would just reiterate my comment from earlier about, yeah, if the staff okays, it's probably not the right language, but okays something, it just would be nice to have an update on those, just so as we go through the year, we know what's going on around.
Yeah.
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 Well, and going back to the Coit thing, that sometimes knowing some of those things going on, I think part of the problem with that was that it just all of a sudden was on the news, and lack of maybe putting that out there. But just, it was nice to read the report, but it's like, oh, look at what you guys did. It would have been nice to know throughout the year what was going on.
Yeah, I think an email is probably, instead of waiting till a meeting where
Yeah, an email
there's no
or
visuals or anything.
recap at the meeting. I don't, either way.
Awesome, yeah.
I have a comment. I was, first of all, Dan Uccella's project is going along. That's the one on Post Road.
Yeah, they were
The
moving
lights,
dirt.
there's a new red light that's going, it's up. I don't know if it's running yet. I asked him how the low-income part of his housing plan is. He says, it's not low income at all. It's like $2,200 a month. So, the state has opened it up and called it low income. Maybe for Detroit, it's low income, but for here, it's not.
Problem with the low income is you can't afford to build it, and there's no return on your investment. I mean,
Exactly.
it's, yeah.
Exactly. So they're caught. So.
And that
I-
light as of last night was not working. Yeah.
I continue to get complaints about Randy's property at the corner of Belmont and, what is that, Packer?
Really?
Got a lot of stuff sitting outside. Big stuff. So,
Like lawn care stuff, or?
like semis.
Oh.
He has no reason to do that. He's got his own property now, Is
there, so since Maverick backed out on the West River, that's just gonna sit vacant or whatever until
I-
somebody moves forward.
I haven't heard of anybody looking to purchase. Yeah, unfortunately. It's zoned for it now, so it's ready, but.
He's up to date on his property taxes.
Anything else? We're adjourned. 24 minutes.
Great meeting, Marie, you got us out of here in lots of time.
Thank you for your leadership.
Hey.
Your last meeting as chair. That's crazy. Oh, thank you. I'll recycle.
Well, Jim,
Have a good night.
there's a chance I won't be here next month, so as chair, you will have to.
okay.
So
yeah,
they
just-
sign the meeting
So sort of
minutes,
plan that way.
they look them
I'll make
over,
sure everybody knows.
make
I
sure
think
that
so, but
I didn't mess anything up, and if I did, let me know.
If I know ahead of time, it's nicer rather than just walking, it's like, oh, I guess.
Yeah, it's published
think
with the
so.
agenda, so if you want to take a look at it before. But yeah, there's a hard copy if you want to look at it just while you're here too. You read the applicant info before each, yeah, like Brian does. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's pretty easy. But it's nice to change things up, you know? Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Chair. Yeah.
Because at some point I get booted out, but you can only serve
Yeah.
so long. What is?
It's true. I think it's three-year terms.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So I still-
I'll double check your expiration date if you want.
Well, it's not this year, obviously.
No.
You didn't boot me out already,
Yeah.
so. Okay.
Nice.
Anything else I need to know, or? I think
so.
I may not be at next month's meeting,
Okay.
February.
So vice chair it is.
But yeah, I just told Jim, I
Okay.
said, I don't think I'm gonna, I'll update everybody as we get a little closer, but I told Jim there's a chance he's doing it next month, so.
Doing something fun?
Go to a concert,
Nice.
and it's at 7:30, but it's like, there's no way I can get here and play the meeting ends.
It's kind of, it might be a busy one. Is it at DeVos?
It's the Rock,
Yeah,
the
Pete's going to
candlelight.
that.
the candlelight thing, yes.
Yeah,
we're gonna
'cause
be there.
Pete is gonna miss the meeting too for that
Okay, so I'll
concert.
see him down there.
Yeah.
We saw Moulin Rouge, Sunday night? Yeah,
Nice.
Sunday night, we saw that.
Very nice. Nice to get out and about.
Extravagant.
Yeah.
And you sent the stuff out about the.
Yeah, but he's, I don't know if you know him, he's a very conscientious person. He's, you know.
Yeah, I feel like it's more for beginners
Okay,
as just like an intro into, you know, zoning planning. But if you want to refresh, it's totally open to you. Might be boring for you though.
Hawaii or
Yeah.
something, maybe I would.
Yeah, yeah.
Franken was in the winter.
Yeah, might pass.
Well, maybe we'll see you next month.